Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second ever episode of the Detonate podcast. I am, of course, your host, Nate Gullion, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Stephanie Pastroni Ravioli.
Hello.
Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Nate. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, still weird intros. It's always like weird hopping back in. I was like, man, we got through the first episode feeling good, and then still coming back into this episode was like, ugh.
We in beta,
we're here.
you know. We in beta.
We in
still.
beta. So first of all, I want to just talk about what's been going on the past week with us, because we got our first episode out, and that's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting.
No, I'm just so ready. The first time I was a little like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm excited. Now I'm like, I could not wait to get home and sit at the computer and talk to everybody.
Yeah, I've been waiting all week, and then today it was like this morning it hit me. I'm like,
oh,
it's tonight. I get to record tonight. Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It was so good to see the outpour of support for our first episode. It was so much more than I ever expected.
It was so amazing. I was kind of taken aback how much people from my channel and your channel, seeing all the comments and seeing everybody just so supportive and like, you guys are doing great. And then I even had some people like, hey, could you guys talk about this next time? And I thought it was just so great to have all that feedback. It just really like warmed my heart. I was like, oh guys, love you.
It was an awesome thing because I knew it would probably work out in the end. I was like, okay, I feel confident in my editing skills, and I feel confident with us as hosts. But I figured at least like the first couple of episodes would be a little bit rough. I didn't know if a whole lot of people would listen to it. And to all you out there who have been listening already, like, so much love. Much love. Thank you so much. I had one guy that said, I don't follow the game industry at all. I'm not interested in that. But I listened through the very end just because it was so interesting listening to it.
Yeah.
I had somebody else being like, I don't ever listen to podcasts, but I listened to this one the whole way through because it was so interesting. And somebody said, wow, it does not sound like a first time podcasting. It like most podcasts sound like, all right, they're starting off, and they're like, no, it sounds like you sound like seasoned podcasters. And that, so much kind words. We had a mutual friend of ours reach out to us and say, hey, can I do like a highlight reel of the podcast?
Yeah. Oh my god, I was so excited for that. I thought that was so nice. I was like, wow, a highlight reel would be great.
The thought of it meant a lot. Just like the fact that somebody's interested in this podcast enough that they want to do a highlight reel of it is like, oh man, this is gonna be good.
It's so exciting. It really just like, I was just all giddy inside. I was like, oh, this is great. This is going great.
I think this is the most support I've ever gotten for anything I've done.
I know, it was so amazing.
So yeah, so again, thank you everybody. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to you all for
guys so much
for listening. It was going to be a fairly news bare week, and then on Tuesday Nintendo announced like, hey guys, tomorrow Nintendo Direct, and I'm just like, oh I know. Okay, that'll be our big news thing, isn't it? Okay. So that'll fill up a lot of time for sure. But before we do that, we'll move on to our news topics for the week. Our first one, pasta.
I got some things to say, and I just want to say them real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, so I know I know you guys have Twitter. Who doesn't have Twitter? Let's talk about the Activision Blizzard layoffs. So, Nate, you want to kind of give us a rundown on what's been going on with that?
I got the deets. So, basically, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick recently wrote saying, while our financial results for 2018 were the best in our history, we didn't realize our full potential. And what that means is, we made more money than we ever have in the history of the company, but that's not good enough when we're going to lay off 800 people. 800 people.
And it's only 8% of the company. And when you think 8%, you think that's fine. People make layoffs throughout the board. They cut 8%, no problem, all the time. That's still 800 people.
The fact that it was done in the same breath as saying, we've had our most successful, we've made more money than we ever have, but also we're firing 800 people.
I'm a business major, so this kind of really hit me to the core. And especially because I'm in marketing in school, and I know a bunch of PR and marketing people were laid off. Those are the people, I mean, your game is going to bring you money, but I think PR is pretty important.
People are going to know you. They're going to know you as the company that laid off 800 people.
On Twitter, I saw all these Blizzard people like, today was my last day. And that for the majority of the time, most of them were, I appreciate my time at Blizzard, blah, blah, blah. The generic, I'm so thankful for my job. I'm on to bigger and better things. And I am so proud of those people because I would have not taken that road probably immediately. I would have went home, drank a bottle of wine, and went right in front of Twitter and went on a rant. Like, that's just me being me.
Now, okay, to be fair, though, part of that is they're almost forced to act like that, not only because of Blizzard, because they have issues with libel and stuff like that.
Employers too.
But future employment is that's what they're going to look back and say, did you trash talk your last job you were laid off from? And that sucks. I like to think that they're just being the bigger man. Yeah. But it is fair to know, it's okay, the industry kind of makes you play ball in that way. If you don't leave a job, even if you're leaving against your will, if you don't leave a job with the best attitude, then good luck getting another one. And I hate that. They are still getting laid off. Yeah. And it's simply because Activision didn't make as much money as they wanted to, even though they've made more money than they ever have. So it's just, it was a dark day. It was a dark day saying that. It was really sad.
Especially their esports department did get hit pretty hard with this. I'm not really in any kind of esports. I'm not a big esports kind of gal, but I still felt bad. I don't know. Really bothered me.
So, that Fortnite in the past 6-ish months opened up for cross-platform on PlayStation, right?
Oh, yeah. I think it's great.
Because before that, PC could play with Xbox and vice versa, and I think it was actually out on Switch for a while, and all the three of those could play together, but Sony was not playing ball because they basically had the mentality of, why do we want to do that? We have the largest player base out of any of you, so why do we need to do that? And it's a bad mentality, but basically people fussed over it enough, and they finally said, okay, we'll open that up. We'll let PlayStation Fortnite players play cross-platform with the other systems. And then I believe that's also going to be coming to Rocket League if it hasn't already. So 2 games, this is getting good. This is getting good. So the conversations have started happening about cross-platform on PlayStation. And people have been asking Sony, okay, so what are your thoughts? Is this happening now? Is this okay to do now? To which Sean Layden, CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide, or SIE Worldwide, said, we got to that place in Fortnite and it seems to be going reasonably well, from what I can tell. People keep saying, why doesn't Sony allow more people to have it? Well, we're open on business on this one. All it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it. As ever, just work with your PlayStation account manager, and they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. So, outside observer, cool. Sony just admitted they're down. They're ready to work on this and work with developers and open up to do cross-platform. So things like Wargroove and all these indie games and stuff, cool, we can get cross-platform on all the systems now. That's going to be so awesome. Except, speaking of Wargroove, that game was developed by Chucklefish.
Oh.
And that's the same publishers behind Stardew Valley, and I believe they were the developers behind Starbound. So, notable publisher and everything. Chucklefish's CEO, Finn Bryce, also known as Ty, had a little thing to say in response to that. He said, We made many requests for crossplay, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release month for Wargroove. We were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen. Just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers having not contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no. So...
Wow. Wow.
So Sean Layden at Sony is saying, "Oh no, we're playing ball. We're being cool. It's the devs. They're just not doing their part. They're just not asking. We'll let them do it. They're not asking." And nope, that is why Wargroove on PlayStation is not cross-platform with anybody else, because Sony told them no. Told them no. And I'm sure some people, like the diehard Sony fans out there, will defend them, being like, "Oh no, Ty is lying. He's just saying that." And it's like, why? Why would he lie about that?
No, he wants his game everywhere. That doesn't business wise. Yeah, it does.
Hurts his sales.
Yeah, and he wants more people to get that game. I'm sure of it.
It was a huge selling point for me. My friend ended up buying it for me on PC because Switch doesn't currently have like a way you can gift games.
Yeah, I think that's BS, by the way.
It's kind of weird. So he gifted it to me on Steam, and then he's got it on Switch. But we can play together because cross-platform. Yeah. But I wouldn't have that game any other way. Like, he definitely wouldn't have bought it for me then, and I wouldn't have bought it for myself because I would have gone, who can I play this with? Like, I know it's got a great single-player campaign, by the way, so go check out Wargroove, guys. Good. But as far as like the multiplayer aspect, that hurts their sales. There's no reason he would want to lie about this or make excuses or something. He would want to have this out. And in fact, I believe that game actually got delayed, and I don't have evidence on this, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear it's because they were intentionally having to turn off the features in the game to allow crossplay. So let that sink in. It may have been delayed because of that issue, because of Sony going, nope, no crossplay. So once again, Sony, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment worldwide, just lied. Because, of course, they want to look good and hope nobody will look into it. And shout outs to Ty, CEO of Chucklefish, for being like, actually, that's not at all how that went down for us. So just wanted to throw that in the ring there.
I just think some of these, like Sony, Xbox, there's literally no excuse for it. And when they try to, kind of like hide stuff, not even hide, I don't know the word for it, but when they try to be kind of sneaky about it, or like, oh, we just can't, blah, 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 or it's the developers, or blah, blah, you can't act like that like you would, 10, 15 years ago.
You're going to get called out.
You are going to get called out socially. People are going to go on a rant, and you're going to lose sales. Because, people don't like it when, all these big companies are stepping on the little guy. And I'm not saying game developers are aren't as good or whatever, or they don't have much say. But the game developers are the ones that should be kind of coddled and like praised because they deserve it. They're the ones making the game. Mm-hmm. So
they're putting the work
behind. Yeah, I would much rather stand behind a game dev and be like, if they're like, hey, Sony's like not letting us do our thing. Okay, well, I'm probably not going to buy Sony products.
More often than not, a lot of developers want to make a good game. And it's usually the publishers that step in that say, okay, make a good game, but also put in all this stuff that may or may not make it bad.
Right. And the way I think Nintendo has been doing things with the indie games, they're a little more expensive, but I'd rather pay more money to have it on a Nintendo versus other publishers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's like the only console I'm ever using right now. And it's because I'm kind of being a snob about Xbox. Well, not so much Xbox anymore. They're actually kind of doing a little bit better. But I do not have a PlayStation 4, and it's not really killing me here.
PlayStation has a lot of good single-player experiences, but it's definitely not the multiplayer platform.
No.
It could have been. The Xbox did kind of drop the ball with the Xbox One. There's not a lot of games. It's just not the system people go to for multiplayer stuff. Weirdly, I would say at this point, a lot of people, if the multiplayer game is available on Switch, if they're going to get it for any console, they're probably going to get it on Switch.
Exactly.
Sony could be killing it if they opened it up, but a lot of people are sitting there going, I mean, except for the people that already have PlayStations, because a lot of people can't afford every platform, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't already have PlayStations, if you're looking between buying a PlayStation for Fortnite or buying a Switch for Fortnite, until they opened it up, I know what the answer was going to be. People were going to get the Switch because they could play it with everybody else.
Yep.
Nobody's going to buy a console for a multiplayer game that they're being told you can only play it with people on this console. I don't care how big your player base is. It's not as big as what it would be, including every other console. People will make excuses. People will say, well, why does Sony have to put in crossplay? Well, you got me. They don't. They don't have to put in crossplay. It makes
sense for them to do it,
but it's a smart business decision. Exactly. There's no reason why they shouldn't. There is no evidence to suggest it hurts them to allow crossplay. But there is evidence to suggest that it hurts them to not allow crossplay. They don't see it that way, but there is hard evidence.
The only consumers they have are the people that already bought a PlayStation 4. Because a lot has changed in the last couple of years with this cross-platforming. And I feel like I have a Switch. I have an Xbox One because I've had it. I would never buy one now.
Not at this point.
Not at this point. But the same, I will not buy a PlayStation 4. I won't buy it. There's The Last of Us is maybe out there and like a couple other games. It's not going to kill me not to play those games. I'm sorry. It's just not. And they're losing new customers, which is great because then people would keep buying their games. So it's just kind of like, what are you guys doing? And I mean, if they want to keep doing that, that's their business. But it's kind of stupid. It's
their right. They have those freedoms, but they don't have the freedoms from repercussion. No. So I think they're not in any sort of danger of going out of business. They are killing it, mainly because of the single player experiences. They have some great single player titles that, I'll be honest, I'd probably buy a PlayStation for a couple of those titles. But luckily I don't have to because my boyfriend already has one, so But I definitely wouldn't buy one for a multiplayer game. Not in a million years. It feels like you're buying a multiplayer game and being told, oh, but you can only play it single player. That's what it feels like to me. I know it's a little bit dramatic, but you're being told you just can't play with this huge group of players for no good reason. Right. For no good reason.
It just doesn't. I'm all about companies listening to their consumers because I think that's the way they should make their business plan. It should be about consumers. We live in a very consumer-based economy. And when you're not taking care of your customers, it's going to affect you and your business. So I just think they're really dropping the ball on a really good opportunity.
I hope, especially with this news article, that it's going to kind of get blown up. And I hope maybe Sony will actually go, fuck, okay, we got to do this.
It's called progress, Sony. Get with it.
Come on, sis.
You can do it.
We need you to do this.
Oh, God.
On to our very big news topic of the day. The Nintendo Direct happened yesterday. We record on Thursdays, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this. Little fourth wall breaking there. We record on Thursdays. So the Nintendo Direct happened yesterday on the 13th. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that happened. And we'll just start going down the list. I know.
I'm looking at the list and I'm just cracking up because it's just...
It's huge. Okay. It's a huge list.
I'll try not to ramble.
First of all, game I've been wanting for a while. Very... very excited about Super Mario Maker 2.
Yes.
It finally got announced and we got a release month of June. We didn't get a date, but it's June is what they said. So I was very excited. I was actually streaming the whole Direct yesterday and I'm very excited. Now, I've watched a lot of gameplay of people playing through levels, of fan-made levels, and I've even played through some levels myself, but I never spent any time building levels. I didn't have a Wii U. My friends just brought over theirs and said, hey, let's stream some Mario Maker. I was like, cool. But I never got to play around with the tools, so a lot of this, I guess basically everything they showed was new stuff, but I didn't know that. The very first thing they showed in the trailer was slopes. I'm like, what do you're telling me? What do you mean they didn't have slopes?
No, they did not.
How did they not have slopes? That seems it's just a type of terrain. That seems like the weirdest thing that they would just omit. I get maybe some enemies or something. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
They just didn't have slopes? So, but I guess everything in that was new content, which, I mean, is cool. I'm excited about it. Before we started doing the podcast tonight, the thing I was watching on YouTube was old Mario Maker. I'm going to stream the heck out of that, both making levels and playing viewer levels. It'll be great. That's going to own my stream for weeks. I guarantee it. And it's going to be like a regular, like, every Friday is Mario... No, I'll do a Mario Maker Monday. That's what I'll do. Mario Maker Monday.
That'd be great. I'm very excited that you haven't legit played the first one, like to where you made your own levels and stuff. That's not really my jam, but seeing people make them is so much fun.
I'm excited for that because I've seen other people make them and stuff, but just not enough to like... It's going to be a very new experience for me. And
especially with slopes and angles, I think that's going to be fun too.
There's so many new features they're adding in that I'm just like, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
They added in like bullet bills in the background, like the giant bullet bills that like fly towards the screen.
Oh, wow.
Guys, go back and watch that trailer. There's a lot of new features that I'm just like, this looks awesome. There's going to be so many new levels. And when I streamed it before, I streamed it like one night playing viewers levels. And this one guy hopped in and I've never seen a more unique take. And I watched literally hundreds of Mario Maker videos on YouTube.
Wow.
Of people playing viewers levels and stuff. I had never played something so unique as what this one viewer sent me, and I loved it. And I'm just like, a sequel to this game is going to add all this content, which means more unique types of levels and things that we've just never even imagined. And I'm so freaking excited. It's going to be so big.
Yes, it's going to be great.
So I'm very excited about Mario Maker.
I am too. That's honestly the most, I even have friends that, I had a friend message me, Chris. He said, so I guess I'm finally going to get a Switch. And I said, Mario Maker 2. He's like, Mario Maker 2.
On to our next big release. This was a big one. When they announced the Direct, this is the one that they were talking about. We're going to talk more about this. And that was the Fire Emblem 3 Houses. So it's the next generation of Fire Emblem games. And I have heard very, very mixed reviews on this.
I don't know anything about it.
I've never played Fire Emblem. The most Fire
either.
Emblem I've played is in Smash, and that is not representative of the games at all. But I know there are a lot of people out there that are hardcore fans, and I'm not opposed to getting into the series, but I know that there was some hardcore fans loved it. They saw this and they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then others said, this is the last straw, Nintendo. Never buying this game.
Wow.
Bleh.
See, I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know anything really about the game. There's a couple friends that play it and they're like, oh, I'm pretty excited about it. But nothing to go on with it because they knew I didn't play the game, so. I
guess the whole premise is like, you're a teacher, like very, very simplified here. You're a teacher at a school that teaches students from 3 different regions on the continent that are all at war/peace sort of thing. And I believe the reason... I'm going to mess this up. I'm so sorry. Don't at me. I believe the whole reason they're at peace is because they are learning cooperatively and their classes are all about war.
Oh.
And by that, all the tactics and stuff that are happening, like all the tactical battles you're having are versus other students at the school. On top of that, it's like a life where, like, you kill the other students. I'm like, well, how is this school ordaining?
World peace.
Like, it's like, we're not at war because we're killing each other at school. I'm like, oh, that's really weird. And I'm really simplifying it. And some fans of this are going to just string me up at the nearest tree. But
get ready for the comments.
So many comments. But that's like, as an outside viewer, I'm like, that's what that looks like. I'm sorry. It seems really weird.
Oh.
It is sort of, I do find it intriguing though, because it is sort of, there's 3 houses for these 3 regions. So it's like, so I compared it to Hogwarts. I was like, oh, it's like Hogwarts. And somebody else was like, well, it's 3. It's 3 houses at this school. So it's Pokemon Go. It's the 3 Pokemon Go teams. I was like, oh my god, it kind of is. So it's I think you can pick what region you're from and you teach your students. So your students are the team that goes in and fights. And you're just, if you lose students, it's like, oh, well, I guess they get a failing grade and a burial site.
Wow. Oh my
god. It's such a weird concept. And I feel like I've gotten something wrong.
I'm so glad I listened to the Nate version of this because now I want to play this game.
But yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of intrigued because I don't really know much about them. I know a lot of people were like, but what's the story? I'm like, I think that's why a lot of people are upset about it is because they were kind of like, it's kind of story bare. at least for what they've given us so far. You may have specific stories for whatever region you pick, assuming they are going to let you pick regions. But it does seem like at the baseline, they were like, we've set up our world and you're at a school teaching students to fight other students. That's it. So it just kind of seems like there's not, at least in this initial direct about it, I don't think that there's a whole lot to talk about, but you may have a personal story that your character goes on, or there may be something, this may be just like what it starts out as, and then a war happens or something. Like there could be more to it, but at least initially it does seem very story bare, and that's a good possibility why people are upset, because the games typically have very in-depth story from what I understand. So I could see some people getting upset. They also complained that there wasn't a whole lot of gameplay shown, but I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I get they do change up stuff, but I feel like a lot of it is they showed a little bit just to be like, look, it's still a tactics game. It's the gameplay, you know.
Yeah.
But they wanted to explain the world, at least for this initial one. Like, give it time, guys. Hold off your hate a little bit. Give them a chance to maybe explain a bit more of the mechanics and stuff before sending in the troops.
Right.
It did get a slight delay, which I can understand people getting upset about maybe, but I guess it was supposed to come out in the spring, but it's getting delayed until July 26th. I'm usually the person that's like, I don't mind it getting delayed as long as it comes out good.
Yeah, it's got to be better then.
Yeah, it's like theoretically that means it's going to be better coming out later instead of being released early and being poop. So, you know. The next game I wanted to mention was the new Platinum game, Astral Chain, which their whole jam is like visual, very flashy, combat-y games. I can't think there's like a term for it, but they are very good at fast-moving, very fluid combat, where it's just you feel very badass the whole time. They're like power fantasy games. They're very good at making you feel real powerful and cool. They also, I think they did Nier Automata, or Automata, however you want to say it. I don't know if they did the other Nier games. So that's kind of their jam, and Astral Chain seems that way. I'm not usually into that type of game, but I have to admit, watching this trailer, I was kind of interested. I'm like, all right. They didn't really give us any details. It was like a teaser trailer, but you see like a couple future cops against robots and criminals. There was like some story about the criminals being like, you're the bad guys, you're ruining the city. And they're like, but you're the criminal, you're ruining the city. And then you're controlling two cops at once. And they're, again, I guess that's the astral chain going on. They're kind of tied to each other. Oh. So they like slingshot each other around in combat and stuff. It looks, again, fast-paced, fluid, fun combat that I'm like,
that's perfect for the Switch.
Yeah, I was like, I'm kind of down for that.
That seems kind of fun. I would love that.
Again, if you like Bayonetta and games like that, it looks like it will be more of stuff like that. And I'm actually like, all right, I'm going to give that game a chance. That looks really, really good. And that's set to release August 30th.
Have to check that out.
Moving right along. I know I'm not letting Pasta talk a whole lot, guys.
I don't know much about these games. I don't have a lot of opinion on them. But the ones
feel free
I do,
to chime in whenever.
No,
just
the
interrupt
ones
me.
that I'm passionate about, I can talk forever. It's just, I saw the little trailer and I'm just like, meh. You know, I was also a little obsessed because I was looking for, Animal Crossing. So I probably should have rewatched it, but I was a little devastated. Anyway, I don't want to keep going on about that. I'm not salty.
The next game that I want to talk about is a very exciting one, which, admittedly, I wasn't super excited about to start out with, but I've recently been changed my mind. It's Yoshi's Crafted World. It's set to release on March 29th. Here's a little fun fact about me, guys. My favorite platform game ever is Yoshi's Island. Technically, originally supposed to be Super Mario World 2. I think I got that right.
It's all coming back to me now.
They put the subtitle Yoshi's Island, but then it got re-released for the Game Boy Advance, which is actually the version I played and fell in love with, which is pretty similar. There was a couple sound changes and whatnot, but I played the Game Boy Advance version. But Yoshi's Island is definitely my favorite platformer ever, and that was all in a hand-drawn aesthetic. And then they've just been kind of playing with the Yoshi IP ever since, which is not bad, but that game had a very distinct feel to it that I just fell in love with. I spent so much time on that as a kid. It literally looked like a lot of the levels were drawn with crayon and stuff. It looked so cute and I loved it. And then they did a sequel to it on the DS, which not a lot of people played, I guess.
I didn't
as far
even
as
know
I
it
know.
came out on DS.
It did. It was Yoshi's Island 2. So it's just more levels, same sort of aesthetic. You had the other babies, I think.
Okay.
I never really... I played like a couple levels of it. I didn't ever own it because I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I love that art style. And that's why, I mean, it's a completely different game. But you know in Kirby 64, when you had the map and you had the little crayon and you would go to like whatever level you wanted to go to, like that kind of art style. Mm-hmm. I love that about, I just love that kind of art style. So I'm a little excited
I like the
about
kind
this
of crayon, like hand-drawn thing.
Yeah, because it's like all cardboard kind of look to it.
And the new one has like a really neat aesthetic, which I was like, I wasn't necessarily worried about the aesthetic, but I kind of felt the same way about Yoshi's Woolly World. Again, I didn't have the Wii U, so I didn't really get to play it myself. But I wasn't super hyped about Yoshi's Woolly World either, because it seemed like, I don't know, it felt like something was missing. It felt like they just went, let's just give it another cute look, and then that's good enough. And I can't, again, I didn't really play it enough, so I can't really judge it. But that's how I felt going into it. And that's how I felt going into this one. As I'm like, well, I like the art style. So they went from like hand-drawn crayon stuff to yarn, like all the Yoshis and stuff made out of yarn, which was cute and everything. And now it's all like cardboard. I was very meh on it at first. Like I was like, this looks cute, but I don't know. I felt very burned by Kirby. I won't go into a huge rant about that, but I just didn't enjoy the new Kirby game a whole lot. I found it very boring.
It was very boring.
And I was worried about that with this Yoshi game.
Seems like there's a lot to do, though.
Well, they released a demo for it.
Yeah.
I streamed the demo today, and I like 100%ed it because I'm like that. I was like that with the, like, if I play the original Yoshi's Island, I usually like go through and like get all the flowers, get all the red coins, all that stuff. And I did that with this, and it was so much fun. It was so cute. Like, it was immediately super cute. It felt really good. Kirby felt very floaty. Like, the controls didn't feel very tight to me. Mm-hmm. It felt like there was like maybe a little bit of a delay with everything, which I think was kind of their intention, but it didn't feel good to me. And that's one thing I didn't like about Kirby, whereas I expected that with Yoshi, and it wasn't. This Yoshi felt just as tightly controlled as Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance. It doesn't look it, but when you actually like grab a controller, like I definitely recommend like check out the demo, because what it does is each level, I guess, you're going to go in, you're going to do the usual collect all the flowers, collect all the red coins, get through the level, yada yada. Then when you beat the level, it's like, oh, some Poochie pups ran back and are hiding in the level. You want to go back and find them? And you can either like exit the level and move on, or you can go, yes, I do, please. And what it does is it flips the camera around, and you go back through the whole level from the end of it from a whole different perspective. So you're in the same areas of the level, but seeing stuff from the other side of the table, essentially.
Oh, I love that.
And you get to then go collect the Poochies for extra bonus stuff. Because I guess the flowers now are also a collectible as well. That you unlock new stages and stuff by having a certain number of flowers collected.
Oh, so like Mario Odyssey, kind of like with the...
Yes, kind of like with the moons sort of thing going on. So you get like 5... You get a total of 5 just collecting them if you collect all the flowers around each stage. But then you can also get a bonus flower for collecting all the Poochie pups. And then, when I popped out of that level for the second time, then I met a guy that was like, hey, those flowers are really helpful, aren't they? Well, I've got some flowers, but I'm really wanting a souvenir from this place, so I need some cows. I want a cow as a souvenir. So hop back in that level. You'll find cows in the background of the stage. Go shoot them with some eggs, and shoot 5 of them. So then you can replay the level again, shoot 5 cows, and then it'll be like, do you want to keep playing, or do you want to go ahead and exit the level? I was like, well, I mean, I literally completed the whole level already, so I just said exit, and it popped me out. I gave it to him, he gave me another flower, and I mean, that was the whole time. It's one level, unfortunately. I'm like, I want more. Yeah. I want more of this, but I did everything there was to that demo, and was just like, yep, I'm gonna buy this.
Yeah.
Like, that was, and which is the whole point of a demo. Sometimes if you're kind of like iffy, play a demo, see if you like the game. And yeah, I was down for it. The only difference I didn't like was again, I'm comparing to old school Yoshi's Island. I know again, Woolly World has been out since then and stuff. But Yoshi's Island, when you started throwing eggs, it did the cursor kind of bounced up and down at an angle. And in this, when you like pull your arm back to throw an egg, it is like free cursor movement. You just kind of aim the cursor wherever you want in the 2D space, which the whole point is because there is stuff in the background to shoot. So sometimes you want to highlight the stuff in the background and shoot at that. I'm just not used to it. I'm sure I will get used to it, but just initially I'm like, oh, that's a bit jarring. But no, everything else just felt super good. It was very charming, very cute. And there was just more to it that I just didn't expect. And, like, the completionist in me is like, I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to play through all these levels and get all the collectibles and get all... I'm like, yep, this is it. This is going to be a good game. So I'm definitely excited for that one.
It's going to be really cute.
It's going to be really cute. And that's coming out March 29th. So that one's very soon. I think that's the earliest one, I think. So,
wow, yeah.
Super excited for that. March 29th, Yoshi's Crafted World. And the demo's out now for free on Switch, so go check that out if you haven't already. The next release is Demon X Machina. I believe the AE is pronounced E. So Demon X Machina. I had mixed feelings about this seeing trailers. I'm like, oh, it's like a mech fly shooty anime sort of game. So just another game that I was like, I don't know. But then they released the kind of a demo that they, like a very in-depth demo actually, that was called Prototype Missions. That I haven't even beat the whole demo, but I booted up the demo on stream. It has like full character customization to the point where I made the most hideous thing I possibly could.
Like you do.
Like one does. I made, it was a male character with a forest green face.
Oh God.
Blue hair in the style of like Hatsune Miku, like the Japanese
oh my gosh.
hologram pop star thing. And then a purple goatee and a purple scar across his face. And then like bright pink and yellow armor. Like it was the most hideous
So it was like old Greg's cousin.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was the most hideous thing ever. I was like, I didn't even know this game had character customization, but we go into town. And it is worthy to note, you can change character customization, like, whenever you want in game. You just go to the lab. They're like, oh, it's just surgical changes. I'm like, oh, I'm just doing just plastic surgery. That's no big deal. And then you can also, like, do customization for your mech whenever you want and stuff. Basically, some cataclysm happened with, like, robots got smart and decided that humans are bad for them, and they're now rising up, and now these robots are called immortals, because, I mean, robots they don't really die, they're robots. So, robots are the bad guys, and they're assimilating other robots and our own, like, machinery to work for them, basically, against the human race. So you are a random mercenary that are working alongside other random mercenaries to fight off the robots. That's the story. And you know what? That's fine, because it's literally just, it takes it where you passed a test. The very first level of the demo was like you had to pass a test to make sure you could like hold your own. And then the ongoing levels are basically jobs that you are applying for and getting, and then you go out and again, there are these jobs to fight these immortals and take down all these robots and stuff. The actual game mechanics feel really good, flying around, jumping around, shooting. You can fully armor, like there's different guns you can get, different melee weapons. You can like pick up a car and chuck a car at them and it blows up in their faces. Like it feels really fun. It was a little bit overwhelming, especially the UI was a bit much initially, but after I had time to kind of adjust to what all I was seeing on my screen, I'm like, okay, pretty fun. But you can apply just like real life. You can go to your boss and be like, I want a raise. So you can apply for like bigger payouts from the jobs. But if you apply too much, then it can hurt your reputation, and then it'll hurt your reputation with like whatever faction you're applying from and everything. So you have to it's like it just kind of feels like you're a mercenary going to fight giant robots. I mean, it sets up the world and it's like, there you go. You go fight giant robots, you spend the money you get from the jobs to build your mech better, you upgrade your person, like but you can hop in and out of your mech for different types of combat. I haven't gotten to delve too deeply into that, but you actually you have a spec tree for your own person that not only affects your person, but it also can affect how your mech performs. So again, it was another one of those demos that I'm like, I didn't know if I would like this, and I'm probably going to buy this at launch. I haven't beat the demo.
Those darn demos. They get you every time.
Yoshi's I did. I did it all in one sitting. It was very like, here's a level. We're going to show you that you can go do the same level multiple different times to get different stuff from it. Cool. That's all I really needed from it. I want more. I wanted more of Yoshi's, but that was all they gave you for the demo. This was like, no, you actually have like a save file. You go in, make your character. I think there's like 5 missions total, and the last one actually has a boss. And I haven't even done them all yet, because I spent like an hour playing what I had played and was just like, this is fun. I'm going to play more of this. And I think it does have like a online co-op 2 to 4 players or something. So you can go through with other mercenary friends of yours. And
oh, that's awesome. See, that makes it right there. That makes it worthwhile.
I will say downside was, and again, demo. So final game may be better about this. There was, while it was docked, which unfortunately is the way you have to stream it, there were some frame drops, which did make some combat tough. For instance, when there was a giant robot that just stomped its foot down in front of you, it was just like very jittery. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of tough. But it wasn't like game breaking. And I replayed that level on my own handheld and didn't have the frame rate issues. So at the very least, like, it should be fun to play in handheld. Like, if you're not a streamer, just pick it up to play in handheld and stuff. It felt fun. It felt really good, both handheld and docked. Had a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, even though up to this point for me, and I'm sure some people, it was kind of like, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not really looking, but I played it. It's fun. Again, free demo. Definitely recommend going and checking it out. Our next topic is somehow simultaneously the most stupidest idea and the most genius idea.
I think it's the best thing since sliced bread.
It was such a, like, I face palmed when I figured out what they were explaining it was. It's Tetris 99. You know what that is? It's Tetris, but a battle royale. It's a battle royale Tetris. I was like, what?
I love it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god. It looks so great.
It's very bare bones. Literally all it is like you boot up the game. It's free, by the way. Free to download. So I was like, all right, they're going to do like the Fortnite thing, do cosmetic things, like maybe get different customizable tetraminos or tetronimos, however you pronounce it, or boards or whatever. Nope. Literally microtransactions not even in it, at least not yet. It's literally just like a free download and the full game is playable. Unfortunately, full game is very bare bones. It's like you load in, you play a game. It matches you up with 99 other people playing Tetris. There's no points. It's just purely like, as you like clear a line, whoever you're targeting, that line goes to fill their board. And it's a last man standing sort of thing. So you just survive as long as you can, which sometimes you're like, man, I'm doing really good. But I promise you, I don't care how good you are. When half the board of players all of a sudden randomly decides to target you, in about 5 seconds, your board is going to fill up. So I think the best game I ever did was I placed 34.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
I had a friend who said he placed 7th. I'm like, I don't know how. Now, to be fair, I'm not very good at Tetris. I've never been like a hardcore Tetris player.
Spatial reasoning is hard.
But I've been having a lot of fun with it. I really have been having fun. I would like to see them introduce like a squad thing, or at the very least, like, just play a game that your friends are in, even if you're playing against them.
So, Spexy, before, we started our podcast, she's actually streaming it, like, right now. And, she, like, plays 74th. It looks like, if you're a streamer, this would be an amazing game to play on stream. It really, like, to just sit there, it's kind of like marbles on stream, you know how, like, you just kind of, like,
People find it super relaxing.
Super relaxing. It looks so relaxing, and I love Tetris. I think it's fun. I'm not very good at it, but...
I'm awful at it.
It looks like a lot of fun, and it's just so goofy and outrageous. I can't wait. I haven't played it yet, but I am very excited about it. I think it's hilarious. I feel like it's Nintendo just being like, you know what, guys? You guys are great. Let me give you something hilarious to play. And
like I said, the cynic in me is like, they're gonna add microtransactions. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind. Like an item store. Now, loot boxes, again, had a conversation about that. Don't like loot boxes, but them adding like a rotating item store, even I'd spend some real money getting like custom boards or something. Yeah. That's fine. But It is fun. If you just want to play like a game of Tetris, again, and just see how long you can survive, it's
super
for viewers, it's very relaxing to watch and very satisfying to watch. Playing it is the most stressful thing in the world, because not only are you like racing against the clock of like the Tetronimals like landing, you're also trying to clear lines as fast as possible, because when people are when you get attacked, you have a few seconds of like, I think like 5 seconds or something of seeing the attack land, like it shows over in the side, and you can theoretically, like say a line of 4 up happens. If you clear 4 lines in that 5 seconds, it just deletes those lines from ever hitting you at all.
Yeah.
So
it's
you
very
can like
stressful.
you can like counteract attacks. And it has like 2 options. You can actually change which sticks they are, but one thumb, because you control your Tetronimos with your D-pad. But one joystick controls like directly, just like target this person, just literally moves the cursor around from person to person. The other one is a more like on the fly sort of thing, so where you can just target between certain categories. So either you could target people based on if they are attacking you. So if somebody attacks you, you can just flick the stick down and it'll automatically target back at those people. Or if they have kills, if they have a kill streak or something, you can target the people that are getting the most kills to get them off the board. Or I think there's a couple others, I can't remember what, it's like 4 different choices to where that just kind of automatically is like, do this, and it'll just target the people that fit that category. So it lets you kind of like actively target, and it shows it doesn't show all 99, I don't believe, but it shows most of them actively on the screen, and it shows where the attacks are going. I'll be real though, I get horrible tunnel vision with the game. I don't see any of it. I just see my own screen like screaming and panicking, like I have to clear lines. I have to clear lines. And it is the most fun I've had with Tetris in years.
Yeah, it's Tetris is already like think ahead, plan ahead kind of game, but it's even more like intense, and like it's really feels like it speeds up the game, because Tetris is a long, like if you guys ever just play the levels of Tetris and try to see as far as you get kind of like, okay, like I've had it. But when you play with, obviously playing with other people, you're not like really playing one-on-one, but just having that extra like, stress is so funny and so great. And it makes it a little more anxious,
Like I said, I was super stressed, and yet I really love it. When I first heard, like I said, I facepalmed. I'm like, they're making everything a freaking battle royale these days. Like Tetris, are you kidding me?
I think they're just memeing it.
It's so good. It's just so good. It works well. There have been multiplayer Tetris games where you're going like 1v1, and it's kind of got those mechanics. Again, like as you clear a line, it goes like you're attacking the other person. But the fact it's you against 99 other people, and like I said, you could be doing great, and then all of a sudden people will target somebody doing with the most points, with the highest score. And when everybody switches to that, maybe that's been you because you've been like clearing a lot of lines. So all of a sudden you've got 5 people that suddenly hit you. When 5 different people hit you with 3 lines all at once, you're dead.
Yeah.
You don't recover from that. So it really is like super hectic and a lot of fun, and somehow just a genius move. And they're not making any money off of it at the moment. It's just free. Right now, we can only play it with the Nintendo Online thing. So it's almost like they're making the money through the Nintendo Online subscription. They're like, you have to have the Nintendo Online subscription.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's free. So
I think Nintendo Online in itself is worth it, but...
And I don't mind. I wish there was more features to it, or at least more games released. It is such a slow drip feed, but yeah. I don't mind paying the money for it necessarily. It's not the end of the world. I play with
enough people online. It's very much worth it.
It's worth it to me, at least. So it's like, I already had it. So when they were like, it's free to Nintendo Online users, I was like, yay,
download that crap.
So I played that on stream. I was like, this is cool. I would like to play with other people. I think that'd make it more fun to stream. I will say, I don't know if it's changed in half a day, but whenever I was streaming it, there was not like when you have to choose from like a list of games on Twitch, and it wasn't listed in there yet. So even though it's really awesome to stream, you can't search for it on Twitch yet. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, people have been just playing it under Tetris. So it was kind of
oh, okay, that would make sense. Yeah. I was playing it under games and demos because I was doing the other
most people
demos
are
and
just
stuff
playing
too.
it under Tetris.
I'll have to look for that, but I hope they do. I mean, it is technically a game, so they should add it soon enough, and then people can just look for it on stream, because it's a fun sort of like hectic, let's watch them play Tetris, which is a chill sort of idea, but also in the Battle Royale sense, it's so chaotic.
It has that online Uno intensity where it's not really intense, but the player can make it intense, and it makes a really good stream. For sure.
It was fun. I'm definitely gonna have to stream more.
Online, definitely download it. It'll
give it a shot.
Great.
At least give it a shot because it's free. It's absolutely free. We will push through our next 3 topics very quickly because then we got one really big one at the end. Yeah. Okay, our next one is Oninaki, which is the new Square Enix RPG, which actually looks really cool. One of my viewers described it as Final Fantasy World of Light. And this is why.
That's a great description for it.
I was like, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because what this is it's a Final Fantasy-esque RPG. I mean, it's by the same devs. And so it's the same people that did I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a JRPG, but the idea is you are rescuing these spirits of lost people, and you're rescuing them from their fate of being monsters. So what you do is you fight monsters and collect the spirits, and then use the spirits in battles against other monsters. Is this sounding familiar yet?
Yeah.
So it's literally like, for those of you who played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that's the story mode is, yep. You go fight fighters and then collect the spirits from them and then use the spirits in fights against other... It's the same sort of concept in a JRPG sort of setting, and I am totally down with that. Like, the aesthetic and everything looks really fun. It looks like you can actively switch between, like, the normal world and, like, the spirit world. And I mean, if you like JRPGs, I do. I'm like, this looks cool. And then again, the concept of the World of Light mechanic, I'm like, all right, this looks neat. So I'm definitely excited for that. And that's coming out in summer. And then the next one, just very quickly, this one pissed me off so much. So I went in not expecting anything about Super Smash Bros. Brawl from this. I was like, no, we got like the DLC coming out, no big deal. Not really expecting anything. And then they come in with some Brawl info, and they're like, we're about to spring forward with our new... Or not Brawl. Oh my gosh, I keep saying Brawl. Ultimate. Goodness gracious me. I wasn't expecting any Ultimate info for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And then they came swinging in with, we're going to spring forward with new content for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with version 3.0.0. And I was like, wow, this is a surprise. I didn't expect any of this. But we're not gonna talk about any of it today. I'm like, then why did you bring it up? Because we want to talk about the paid DLC we've already announced. We're not gonna give you any more info on it. We're just gonna tell you that
we're not gonna show anything new.
Yeah, they showed a 3D model of Joker, the first DLC character, which we already knew was announced. We already know what Joker looks like because we've played that game. That's all they had to talk about.
That's it.
They brought up Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to just be like, buy our DLC.
They played the theme and said, okay, here you go.
Buy our DLC. They didn't tell us any more about the DLC.
Nothing.
They showed us a 3D model of the character that
It was a big waste. It was a waste of time.
It was such a waste of time. I'm like, why did you even mention this? You got me excited. You got me excited about more Smash Bros. Info for nothing. You shouldn't have said anything at all. That was such a BS moment of the Direct. I was like, oh my God.
I just think, I mean, very quickly, I think it was just another attempt being like, hey, if you already haven't bought the game, I don't know who doesn't have the game by now, but if you haven't, here's another reason. And I think that was just basically it. It
just wasn't the place.
No.
The Directs are like meant for announcements and info about the games that have already been announced, not a time for ads. And that was just a straight up advertisement. Now you could argue that announcements are ads to an extent, but like not. That was just a blatant advertisement.
Nothing new. It was nothing new.
They gave us nothing new. Not even about the stuff that they talked about. They just reiterated, hey, DLC is coming out, buy it. That was all it was. It was a waste of time. It literally made me angry. I was like, oh my gosh.
Like there was something they were supposed to announce, and then they were like, you know what, let's not announce it. What do we gotta do? Oh, let's just put it in let's just put in our, update for the game that people already know, and we'll just mention that. Okay, let's go.
I mean, ultimately, if I would rather them not say anything instead of announcing something that they then in turn wouldn't be able to come through with, like that, I don't mind that. But then just don't mention the game at all. Because nobody was going into this Direct expecting info about Smash Bros. Nobody.
But people were in Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, yeah. Animal Crossing, Metroid,
Maybe that's
Luigi's
what it
Mansion.
was. Maybe they were like, all right, we got this all planned out. Here's our announcement. Oh, we're not ready. Okay, just put in an ad. Just fill up that space.
Just put in an ad. It was such a bummer.
Yeah, it was stupid.
And then the next one, I didn't know Dragon Quest XI was even out yet. I don't follow Dragon Quest.
I don't either.
So Dragon Quest XI is getting a definitive edition for Switch, and it's called... Hold on, let me inhale. Dragon Quest XI S: Echoes of an Elusive Age - definitive edition. I'm like, all right.
Better name, please.
It's a bit much. I was excited about all the things they were saying. Like, it's fully voice acted, both in English and Japanese. They're letting you swap between like the new music and like the retro music. And they're also letting you swap between the full 3D game and a retro pixel art top-down style. Which is like cool. Really awesome. So if you want like the retro like Super Nintendo feel for Dragon Quest RPGs, that's there. You can literally play it either way at the flip of a button, and that is so cool. I love that that's a thing, but a lot of these features were already there in the previous version, and it's like, oh, that's okay. Another thing they had that I was like, this is awesome. Some RPGs have had this before. A recent one is notably Pokemon Let's Go, but the fact that you actually see the encounters in the overworld, so they're not just random turn-based battles. Right. You actually see the slimes and whatnot that you go up and attack, and then you go into the turn-based with them. And I love that. I like turn-based combat, but I don't like them being random. So seeing them on the overworld, I'm like, that's great. But that was also in the previous version. So a lot of this, I was just like, this looks so cool. This is an awesome announcement. Except that it's just more or less being like, it's coming to Switch.
Yeah.
I think there was some features. I think like the music switching or something along those lines was like new. But again, most of the announcement was just like, it's on Switch now, which, oh well. I was bummed out a little bit by that. I was like, oh, I thought this was like a new thing, but it still looks good, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the last big thing was, let me paint a picture for you. A very anime-esque picture for you. You see waves crashing in a storm, thundering above. You see a boat coming down, a huge wave in the distance, but you only see the silhouette. You can't tell what it is. Then you see somebody holding rigging. Wait, is that a green tunic? You see white, tighted legs with brown boots and the bottom of a green tunic, and you're like, wait, I know what this is. And Again, I was streaming this whole direct, and you can see the moment that it hits me what I am seeing. And I was so in shock. Guys, the final announcement to this Nintendo Direct was Link's Awakening for Nintendo Switch. A game from 1993, originally out for the Game Boy. Not the Game Boy Color, the 4 shades of green color palette Game Boy. Like, this game is old, and it looked not great originally. They did a DX version of it for the Game Boy Color, I believe, which actually did add a bit of a color palette and everything. But let's talk original. This game, because of hardware limitations, just looked kind of meh. And they said, well, it's been 16 years. I think that's how long it's been, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's bring this back to Switch. Out of nowhere. A lot of people went in expecting them to announce a 2D Zelda game to tide us over till the next big 3D one. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams expected Link's Awakening. And I mean, I literally I backed up hold up. It was a moment when it hit me that that's what they were doing. And then the title came up and the very clean white font of Legend of Zelda, but kind of worn away, just like in Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
And then it just says Link's Awakening underneath it, and you're just like, oh my god.
So I never played Link's Awakening, and I think for a lot of people they haven't played it because it is so old. So this is not set in Hyrule, which I'm pretty excited to play a Zelda game that's not set in Hyrule. I think it's going to be great.
I'll be honest, I've not played it either. I'm a little bit bummed, and it's bummed but not bummed that this is happening. Because I actually had the game set up and ready to start streaming. And I'm like, well, not gonna stream this game now. I was so excited to play it for the first time and have that experience, and now I'm like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, now I can't, because that's a bad... I mean, if I had played it originally years ago and had the nostalgia, that would be one thing, but I don't have the nostalgia for this game because I never did play it, so playing it now in the old original Game Boy version would be a bad representation of the game, not as good as the Switch version. I'm sure they're going to do a lot of quality of life improvements, mainly the controls, because you have a lot more buttons on the Switch. But then, the good news is, I was like, well, I mean, they're not going to just do pixel art, I don't think. I can't imagine they're going to do pixel art. And then they started showing gameplay, which is fair to note. It is like a 1-to-1 scale. People have done comparisons. It is shot for shot the original game.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was in pixel art. But now people have described it as like Duplo, like a playset, like a little kid's playset. I think it looks adorable.
Yeah, it's gonna be everything you love about a Zelda game and so much more. It's gonna be so darn cute. I cannot freaking wait.
I literally squealed when I saw that, because I was like excited. I'm like, oh, a new Link's Awakening. This will be cool. This will be the way I stream it and everything. But when I actually saw the art style, I squealed. Like I like screamed on stream. There's a clip out there. Go check it out. Because I thought it was the cutest thing. And it's very mixed reviews on the design choice. A lot of people are like, this looks too simplified and kiddie. And I don't think so. I think it looks clean. It kind of has like that Yoshi's Crafted World aspect of it. Kind of looks like it is toys on like a table, but it looks very clean. It is a top down, but it's kind of angled a little bit where you're slightly in front of him.
Yeah.
And you can get like a little bit of a view back in the background. And in the immediate foreground and in the background, it is slightly out of focus. So kind of like a depth of field thing going on.
Yeah. I could see where that would be a little annoying, but
I think it's beautiful.
I think that would be just a little bit annoying sometimes. But, so I don't know if you saw the part where there's like a bunch of ladders and then there's like actually Koopas. Oh, did I say Koopas? I meant Goombas. I'm sorry. So that part, I thought that was fantastic. And I can see if they have that little setting where like the edges are a little blurred and everything, I can see where that could be a little bit annoying, but it's so cute. It's so cute.
It's got like a great lighting engine. It's just cute. I get that some people think it's maybe super simplified, and that is a purely subjective point. I'm not going to like change minds on that. I think it looks adorable, but I think it looks clean. All the textures look really shiny and good, and Link looks cute. And yeah, seeing somebody, I watched a video earlier today that they were just analyzing the whole video and walking through piece by piece and being like, this is when he's down here in the original game, and he's here in this part of the game. Now, from what I understand, it is like it was originally sort of meant to be just like a spin-off title. It wasn't really meant to be kind of Zelda canon even, which is why they have all the Mario references. The Goombas, I don't think are called Goombas. I think the Chain Chomp is actually called like a Bow Wow or something like that in the game.
Okay.
The Goombas, I'm pretty sure they took the Goombas directly out of like New Super Mario Brothers. Like those models are identical.
They are. They look exactly like it, which I'm not mad about. I think that's cute.
I think it looks great. That's why one reason why I was so shocked by this is because from what I understood, I'm like, this is not like, it's kind of like a cult classic, but I, for the most part, thought Nintendo kind of just forgot about it. And It really seems like they're embracing it and going, no, this is Zelda canon. We need to talk about this. Especially since they did the new Zelda font. They didn't even go to like redo the old font. It looks very Breath of the Wild-y, which may just be where they're wanting to take the font for the series now. But
I think
even that
smart.
says something. The first thing I thought was Breath of the Wild, but that's a good thing to think of when you're thinking about a new Zelda game.
I think they're doing that the right way.
I wouldn't necessarily say that all the Zelda games need to go with this art style, but again, this is sort of a spin-off game. It's the in-between game between the mainline Zelda games. I'm fine with this art style, especially with the 2D top-down. I think it looks good because some people were like, well, they should have just used the Wind Waker. It's like, well, Link Between Worlds didn't. Link Between Worlds did their own take on A Link to the Past. And I think this is just the next iteration. It's like, this is just the new 2D Zelda, and they're probably going to change it up next time. Who knows? But I personally really like the art style for it. I'm really excited to play it. Now, I gotta wait. That's going to be like a Christmas release. You know it is. This is the thing. You've got Mario Maker is going to be a summer release, but Astral Chain is going to be at the end of August. Dragon Quest XI is going to be in the fall. Link's Awakening is just set for this year sometime, so you know that's going to be a holiday release. Animal Crossing hasn't even been... We don't even have a release date for that yet, but we just know 2019 as well. We know it's been announced. We know 2019. So that's going to be probably towards the end of the year. Same with Luigi's Mansion. Like, because they haven't announced these games yet, it's almost too late for them to announce them if they're going to be a summer release. I think anything they announce from this point on is going to be an end of the year release, which that is why I'm sitting here going, they are going to hit it out of the park. You were talking Link's Awakening for Switch, the new Animal Crossing game for Switch, the new Luigi's Mansion for Switch. They've got all these other games throughout the year that are going to tide them over. But their holiday season, They're just killing it. I'm going to be
amazing.
so poor.
No, me too. I need to start saving now.
I stream every day. And I'm still just like, I don't know how I'm going to have enough time to stream all of these games because there's so many.
It's going to be wild. I am so proud of Nintendo because, I mean, I am salty about Animal Crossing. I'm salty about a couple other things. But for the most part, Nintendo is doing so well with the Switch. They're doing such a good job. I'm so happy that I bought a Switch when I did. Like, when it came out, I pretty much bought it right away. And I'm so happy that I did because all these great games are coming out and it's going to be such a good year for them.
But we will now say our goodbyes. Stephanie, where can we find you?
So you can always find me. I stream nights mostly on twitch.tv/Pastaroni Ravioli. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Pastaroni Raviolis. IS. My name is too long. You can always find me there. I have a Discord that's linked within my Twitch channel. So yeah. Oh, and I have Instagram. I don't think I said that last time. It's just at Pastaroni Ravioli. What I've done each stream, I always post something about it. So yeah.
As for myself, you can find me at twitch.tv/Nate Gullion and twitter.com/Nate Gullion. Super easy there. It's Nate Gullion everywhere. It's that easy. Also, guys, at some point, we would love to have your questions. So, if you send us in questions to DetonateCast, not the DetonateCast, somebody already had that email, just detonatecast@gmail.com with your questions. I will sift through them. Basically, if they're not offensive, we'll probably read them out on the podcast and answer your questions and find something cool. We'll little fan interaction with you guys. Detonatecast@gmail.com. Go email us. Also, on a serious note, this podcast, as is any podcast really, is free, and we love it being free, but the problem is that podcasts cost money to host. We have to pay a site, because we don't have our own servers or anything, so we have to pay a site to host our podcast for us, and that is how we get it out to those other platforms that aren't YouTube, like iTunes and Spotify and all those good podcasty places. I'll probably start paying out of pocket, at least initially, but that's extra money out of my pocket. So please, guys, if you would like to support the podcast, check out patreon.com/Nate Gullion, and we will be eternally grateful. So if you like this podcast and want it to keep going, that's where you can help, definitely. Otherwise, at the very least, we'll keep it on YouTube and keep it going like that. But I think that pretty much wraps us up. So thank you again, everybody, for your ongoing support. Thank you for enjoying the Detonate podcast. We will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Next time on the Detonate podcast.
It's been 3 days since the amiibo came to life and rose up and took over the world. Pasta, you have to make the call.
Nuke 'em. That was fun.